there, friends. I am Jackie, and I want to welcome you back to my channel, Hearth and Apron. Now, today's episode is just filled with Halloween fun because we are going to finish my decorations up in my front yard, as well as add a couple fun, frightening touches to my bathroom. Now, I hope that you will stay tuned throughout this, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to start out by showing you some of the DIYs I used to make this magical transformation happen. Okay, so our first DIY, we are going to make ghost lights. And if you're wondering what that is, it's just a cute little jar with a light inside that I'm gonna put out in the graveyard to just kind of accent things. Now, to make this, first we need to tint our mason jars. And we are going to take just a little bit of water and some gel food coloring and mix that up. You don't want to add a lot of water. And then we're going to put an entire container of Mod Podge in. And we're going to mix this up really well. And then we're going to start by pouring just a little bit into our mason jar. And you swirl it around until the entire inside of your jar is coated. Now, then you try to do your best to pour out any excessive Mod Podge mix back into your cup, and you're just going to kind of set them to the side, upside down, so that any excess can flow out easily. Now, we're actually going to do this in two different colors. It looks like I am using blue right now, but it's actually supposed to be purple, and it did turn out purple when it dried, and I wanted you to know that because I was really distressed when I saw that this turned out blue at first. So now you know. So now once you're done with all of these jars, according to Pinterest, what I was supposed to do was to put them upside down on a piece of parchment on a pan in my oven at 175 to 200 degrees for 20 minutes, and they should have come out dry and beautiful, but that's not how it happened. Let me show you how I failed. So every time I read about this craft on Pinterest, it was told to me to cook it for 20 to 30 minutes in the oven, anywhere from 175 degrees to 200 degrees. So I cooked mine for 1 hour at 200 degrees. And these all said to cook them upside down on parchment paper so that any extra liquid would like ooze out and not be like a problem or cause discoloration. No, 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 no. That is not how it worked. So let's start with the first. If you choose to do this craft in the future, stand the glasses up. Common logic to me just kind of says where I should have thought of this in the past, like when I started, but it just kind of allows better airflow because I feel like this kind of caused a crazy suction on this, which caused it to keep from drying. Now, let me show you what happened. So, as I said, I did this craft yesterday, so it's been 24 hours and it cooked for 1 hour and it's still wet in places. And I felt like the coloring was just kind of not as even as I would like. And this is still going to totally work for me because this is spooky Halloween craft, and so it not being perfect kind of actually makes it better. But if I was doing this for, like, let's say a frame, or like a vase or something, I would be really upset because this is not even color. And the other thing is, because I had it upside down and all the stuff leaked out, like, it created like this. So I'm gonna, like, it's like all the Mod Podge and it like created like a icky on the bottom. And if you go on the inside, it's still wet. I learned this, there's blue. Anyways, so I'm gonna have to take some kind of razor and scrape this off and kind of go back a couple steps to make this project work out. But I'm not going to lose hope because I know that I can do this. And I know if you're trying at home and you have a fail, don't give up, you can do it. And sometimes those fails end up making it so much better. But enough of my jibber jabber, let's get back to crafting. So in order to fix my little goof up here, what I'm doing is I'm using a razor blade and I'm just scraping off all the excess paint. It really was actually pretty easy to come off. I'm happy that I was able to solve this without it becoming a giant problem. Now we're going to finish up this craft by adding some moss and a flickering LED votive candle inside of these jars. And I was actually able to find ones that were activated by a remote, which was awesome because then I don't need to take this apart to get those candles off. I got them on Amazon and they are listed down below. As you can see, my lovely assistant Cleo is here to help me, and that is largely because my poor baby is sick. She had to have all of her teeth, except for 2, removed this weekend, and she needs to be around people, so I was keeping her nearby so I knew she was doing well. If you're wondering what those rings were that I was cutting out a second ago, those are going to be an impromptu lid piece because I could not find enough lid pieces, guys. I don't know what to say. I have all the rings but couldn't find the other top piece. So I just cut out some thick cardstock, and you know what? It worked out perfectly. I'm not expected to have any rain in my area. If I was, obviously I would not be using paper of any kind, but it's relatively dry in my area at this time of year, so this should work out great. And I did spray paint all of the lids that I did have and all of the outer rings black. This was suggested to me by some of my friends on Instagram, and I am super grateful for their advice and their opinions in that manner. For the last step of this craft, I'm actually just going to get that creepy cloth that I've used in so many other places decorating this year, and I'm just going to cut out little strips and kind of tie them on top of these jars to just kind of help to give them a little bit more of an eerie effect. I think these ghost jars turned out really good despite the fact that I had some bumps in the road. Let me know down below, what do you think? So if you try this craft at home, don't forget to take pictures and tag me on Instagram so I can see how it turned out for you. Now to do these touch-ups, what I have is 2 different kinds of paint samples that I picked up from Lowe's, one in kind of a stony gray and also in kind of a gray toned white, so that I could layer them in between. You can see where I have actually painted these before, and I used a little bit of a darker color last year, and I didn't feel like they were visible enough in the night, so I wanted to use a lighter color this year. But what I also am going to do is only show you how I touched up a couple of these, just simply because I had so much footage of me working on these gravestones, and I don't want that to become what the entire episode is about. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of going over different areas with white and gray to just kind of create some variances in the color, because no real stone is one solid color, and when something is a solid color, it's an instant show that it is a total fake. Really quick, I wanted to tell you about the tomb that I'm working on. As you can see, it is actually 2 styrofoam ice chests, put on top of each other and then slightly embellished. Some of those embellishments have stayed through the years and some of them haven't, but what I do have on the one side is I took an engraver and I put in the words for my tomb and then I painted them black, which I really feel like made them pop. And then I went over it with spray paint. And a spray paint probably sounds like a weird thing, but spray paint and styrofoam don't react well to each other, and it actually kind of gave it more of a stone-like texture than the styrofoam itself had. And it is something that actually kind of made it go from okay to oh yeah. And on top, you can see I have an attached little tomb that I just picked up from the Dollar Tree, and it is attached with a kitchen skewer, like the kind that you make kebabs with. And they're just stuck into the top of the styrofoam box and into the tomb as well, and it holds it up there, but it also makes it so I can take the top of that tomb off every year and put it away a little bit more safely. Now, some of the ones that I made, you will see I actually used skulls that I got from Dollar Tree or different types of tombs on top, but I just felt like the variance and the height just kind of really adds a lot to the graveyard. Let me know what you think down below. Okay, now we're just gonna go ahead and add some of that gray color to this black tombstone. And by doing that, it's just gonna make it so that you can see all the little cracks and nooks and make it so that it just stands out a lot better. Now, something that I forgot to get in my recording is after I was done with all of this paint on all of my tombs, I went ahead and took a brown wash. So it was like 1 part paint to 10 to 12 parts water, and I just kind of lightly brushed this all over top of my graves, and it just kind of gave it a little bit more of an aged, dirty look, which kind of helps to add to that realism. If you guys would like a little bit more of an in-depth look at these graves, please let me know down in the comments below and I can add an extra little video onto my Instagram. I just didn't want to take up too much time of today's video on the graves themselves because I'm ready to get decorating. Now it's time for our last DIYs. We're gonna go ahead and throw together two awesome DIY signs. One we are going to put inside of my wreath, and the other we're going to put next to the door on my porch. I hope that you really like these. Let me know down below what you think. As you can see by the Welcome Foolish Mortals, these two crafts were actually inspired by the Haunted Mansion. I love the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. Have you been? Do you like the ride? So the bigger sign is actually the quote that they say to you as you're starting to walk into the chamber in the Haunted Mansion, and I just absolutely love it. Every time I read it, it just instantly takes me right there with all of the nostalgic love. So it says, "When hinges creak in doorless chambers and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, wherever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present and practicing their terror with ghoulish delight." If you're looking at this and thinking, wow, that seems to take you a really long time and I know you're sped up, you're totally right. This is incredibly time consuming when you put these little Cricut stickers on, but totally worth it. Don't forget to let me know down below what you think of the signs. Now for the wreath, I have some purple LEDs that I just kind of weaved in between, and then I have this little bell with the green and black touches that I saw at Dollar Tree, and I felt like it really tied in with the little sign that I made to go in the middle here. And that's all that's here. I just kept it really, really simple. And finally, it's time to decorate. We are going to go make our way out into my yard where we are going to start setting up my haunted graveyard. So right now, I am basically just gonna go around and put things in different places, trying to decide exactly how I want my graves to be set up and where I want everything. And as opposed to continually standing them up, I just go ahead and lay them down flat while I'm in this process, because there's no reason for me to put them up multiple times. When it comes time for me to put them up, I actually have attached PVC to the back of most of these graves, and I am going to take little bamboo sticks that we cut, and I'm gonna mallet them into the ground and use that PVC, pardon me, to just kind of hold these graves up. I've tried multiple different things through the years to keep my graves up, and this is the thing that I have found that works the best. Haha, the struggle is real. Do you see that grave that keeps folding over? That is because it does not have the PVC on the back. That is just showing you how much better it can work. They have the little stands that are supposed to hold them up that you get from the store, and that's what it's falling over with now. I'm eventually going to go take a bamboo stick and kind of use it to prop up against, but next year I will definitely be getting some more PVC and adding it to the back. So over on my little tree space right now, I'm actually hanging my crow's cage, which I made from two dollar store laundry baskets, and I painted it with black, bronze, and brown paint so that it had an aged, rusty look, and I just shoved my skeleton and a little mouse to eat him inside, and I hang him from my tree every year. This was one of those crafts that cost me $3 and brings me so much joy every year. I recommend you make a crow's cage, guys. It's worth it. If you missed the struggle while I was talking, I was trying to put in these little gates around one of my graves that I got from Dollar Tree, but the reality is I could not get them into the ground. It was just too hard, so I'm going to end up using them in a different space. This thing going on with the palette looks funny right now, but once the lights are going, you are going to see it turns out so epic. It's supposed to be like a little portal where the souls are trying to break free from the underworld. and I just love the way it turned out. We ended up adding it with our Sanderson sister graves, and I think it just turned out perfect. Make sure to stay tuned so you can see how it turned out. Also, over here you can see I have this burlap brown piece that we use to make it look like it's an open grave. I'm going to add some dirt around it and kind of put some bones into this wheelbarrow that I'm going to set over by with a lantern so it looks like someone's been robbing graves. Hey guys, we are back in my haunted graveyard, and we are going to go ahead and put up all the lighting. I like to do this at night because it makes it a little bit easier for me to see where I want everything and how to position it. Now, we're going to start out by adding some candles to these awesome little candle holders my mother-in-law got for me and dropped off. Felt they went right with the Halloween vibe. Unfortunately, the candles I had, I didn't realize, are 2 different colors, but I think they'll look good just the same. I'm going to tell you about another tomb that I made. This is my fog machine tomb. And as you can see, I cut a hole on each side and put a dryer vent through it. And I like to fill this up with ice. And there's a reason for this madness. So when you use a fog machine, the fog actually comes out of it really, really hot. And hot air, as we all know, dissipates up into the sky very quickly. Now, if you make that air cold, though, you can get that fog to lay down on the ground like you would see in an eerie movie or something of the like. So that is what this tomb does. It cools down the fog so that it can sit and creep down among the graves instead of just immediately going up into the sky and dissipating. Now I'm going to go ahead and distribute those ghost lights that we made together, and then you can see where my husband is going to take one of them and he's going to put it on a hook in the tree so that it accentuates that crow's cage as well. And the tangled mess of the lights begins. Basically, I'm just going to turn up the lights and get these all situated so that I can show you how they turn out. I think it goes really well. Let me know what you think. Now you can still see some of my wires, and that is because I'm going to go through in the daylight and cover those up with some of my fallen leaves. Basically, I'm going to give you a quick view of how everything turned out. First in the dark, so you can see what it looks like when random people come by and they're driving through. And then I'm going to show my light on again, just so you can kind of get a better view of how everything looks. Let me know down below, what do you think of my haunted graveyard? I really don't even feel like the video is doing it justice. This is by far the best my graveyard has ever turned out, and I have been doing this for years. I'm so grateful that you guys are hanging out with me and that you guys have come along with me on this. Now we are on to decorate my porch with some Halloween flair. So I am first going to start out by putting this black pine garland up around my door, and it has some green lights as well as some purple witch shoe garland that I picked up from Dollar Tree, kind of intermingled with it. And I got this black garland from my friend Jacqueline several years ago, and I just absolutely love it, and she actually gave me the wreath that goes with it as well. You can kind of see that my green lights are a little bit disproportioned, and that's because I needed them to be to reach the plug, unfortunately. And once that is done, I'm going to show you how I took a trick-or-treat bucket and I turned it into a light changing look. I saw this on Pinterest a couple years ago, and I think it looks really cute. Let me know down below what you think. Now we're just going to go ahead and put up the wreath I made as well as that Haunted Mansion sign. After that, I'm going to bring out a rug that I picked up from Home Depot, and I just feel like it kind of finishes the look on this, and let me know down below what you think. I'm also going to give you a quick view of what it looks like during the day. It would appear my sweet kitty Isis approves of our decor. Now we are just going to bring in a couple different Halloween accents into the bathroom just to kind of give it a little extra. So now all of the next little pieces I am going to be using in my sink area I picked up from Dollar Tree, including this white spooky cloth that I'm just going to spread across the top of my mirror. After that, I'm going to bring in this Beware sign as well as a Tales of Halloween hollow book box that I thought would just kind of add a really cute little accent here. After that's done, we are just going to change out this harvest sign that I have on top of the cupboard for a spooky cauldron. Now, I'm not trying to add a ton of stuff to the bathroom because I just want it to be really simple in here, but I still wanted it to resonate with that Halloween vibe that I've got going through the rest of my house. On the back of the toilet, I just have a couple little additions. I have this spider lantern that I picked up on clearance a couple years ago, as well as this cloche with a little cinnamon broom and spider. And then I have another one of those box books that I picked up from Dollar Tree this one's Love Potions, and I'm just gonna put that in the corner and throw in a dead fairy. Let me know down below what you think. That's a wrap, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's Halloween decor ideas and that it inspired you to add some ghoulishly fun accents to your home. Also, if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, please go ahead and do so. I would love to have you join my YouTube family, and I just want to thank you again for watching today. I hope you have an absolutely magical day.